In this video, I'm going to briefly cover infill patterns and walls. So there is legitimately a mathematical equation for comparing and defining your density for your walls and your infill, and I'm not going to go into that for this video. Instead, I'm just going to show you how to access the tools, what you can use, and in truth, the actual default settings of gyroid at 10% infill is usually good enough with two walls. So normally it would be set at two walls here. We come down to infill, and it's often set at gyroid. And if we go ahead and we slice this, let's take a look at what I'm talking about here. Let's preview that, and I've already gone ahead and scrolled down to about layer 32. So if we come down here, the inside of this, the infill as we've defined it, is 10%, and it's using this gyroid structure. And the gyroid structure is strong enough, as is in most cases, unless you need something very rigid like a figurine. I've also found that every model is different. Sometimes more walls works. Other times, a different infill pattern with a higher density is a better solution. Let's scroll on in. If you notice on the outer part, right on the inside, you see two lines. These are the walls. Let's go back and let's prepare this and change the number of walls, and let's also change the infill. So let's change it from gyroid to something like zigzag, and then let's change something like the infill density to something, actually we'll change that in a second. We'll change it to zigzag, then we'll come over to walls, and let's set it like I had before at 4, minimize that, slice it, take a look at the difference. So that's what a zigzag pattern looks like, as you could imagine. And then you notice that there's actually 4 walls within the benching. Now let's do one more modification. Let's come back here to the walls. Actually, let's go to the infill instead. Wrong button there. Expand that and change it from 20% to something like 30% and see what it gives us. So notice the boxes are much smaller, so it's likely going to be a lot more dense of an object. So that's a brief overview of what you can do with infill and the ability to add additional walls internally.